we're live.
We're live? Nice one. Let me check if we're live on all of the things.
Yeah, we're live on X.
We are not live on Pump Fun.
Okay.
But I think Matt would need to do something about that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
This
Is what it is.
Let's first have a look at one second. Let's have a look at Surge to start off with, yeah?
Yep, let's do it. I'm not doing too bad at the moment in the daily game for getting my positions in late. Taking this reel, it's right in the middle of my band right here.
Oh, interesting. You bought you jumped in on that dip halfway through the day.
And I thought it was going to continue down at the time.
Yeah. Interesting approach there. But everybody, most people are
feeling bullish.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely all the early positions went in feeling bullish.
Yeah.
But I think coming out of the weekend, it's always really interesting when the market wakes up, right? It's flat during the weekend, and then sometimes we see it come to life on Sunday, or I guess your Monday morning down under.
Yep.
In preparation for the week ahead, and sometimes we don't get much action until the US market sort of starts to wake up and open. So
yeah, there was a bunch of like financial futures stuff that looked pretty, like the financial futures prices went up over the weekend, which kind of was implying that the stock market's going to stop its bloodbath and recover a bit, open a bit higher.
cool.
Yeah, and so maybe that's why we've stopped the bloodletting. Also, maybe it's that Kramer came out with his sell news.
It's always a good signal, right?
Yeah, that's what Frank calls the signal that we get from people that are like negative signal in the game as well. Have you heard him say that? The Kramer signal? Yeah. So if people are consistently really bad at the game, then they're giving Kramer signal.
We need a little tag for them. When your dots go down in game, like maybe a K in the middle of their dot, just to flag that it's a Kramer signal.
Is Kramer with a K, is it?
It is in my mind, but I live in Germany.
So yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, just his face. His face is the dot.
His face is the dot, yeah. Yeah. No, it's with a C. It is with a C.
Yeah, right.
James Joseph Kramer, the C. Interesting.
Should we whack some positions down on some $1 positions down the 1 hour?
Yeah, I'm going to throw some 1 day positions down to start with.
You haven't thrown your 1 day positions down yet?
No. And so, but based on the trade conversations we've been having earlier today, I feel like I have to be bullish. Otherwise, you'll judge me for my poor trading advice.
Yeah, what the hell, man? Telling me to go long when...
You know me, I never give you financial advice. I tell you what to do and then tell you shouldn't listen to me.
Well, originally with this position, when I first put it in, I put it in with a very tight take profit. It was at like 86 280 or something like that.
86 280.
Yeah, it was a very or
Very
maybe
tight.
86 350 or something like that. It was like just underneath this. Yeah, it must have been 350. But yeah, hearing you talk about it.
Talk about the trade.
Yeah, it's made me, more bullish about it. You should bring up your charts, your TA in a bit.
I think it's clearly hitting on a resistance at like 86 200. We've got roughly five-ish, maybe even 6 touches of that resistance now. And here we go. I think we go. Now we're breaking over it. So I think this is sort of a decisive moment for this movement. The danger here to me is if we wick up and then close back underneath it, then I would be cautious about the path forward. But if we can hold above 86 200 now, then I'd be feeling pretty good about your trade. There we go. It's a good run. I'm expecting 86 500 it to probably pull 86 450 it to hit some resistance. But as I was sort of just saying, it's almost like a really dirty, unclean head and shoulders pattern that we just kind of went through.
The resistance from back here, are you thinking? Or is it a longer time frame than I'm on 1 minute, so but is it kind of this here area here that you're expecting it from, like this group and this group?
I'm looking at there's a descending trend line. Let me share my screen with you. I'll get rid of some of my messy lines here.
Oh, it bounced very nicely off that line that you had there, though, didn't it?
This here?
Right at that line. No, the line. Oh, I'm pointing at my screen. What the hell? The line that you had up on the very like where it's like you had a line going up, and where this latest green candle is hit, it hit exactly your line there.
You mean that line?
Yeah. Was that in before that hit, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was?
So
yeah.
This is sort of like the core of my strategy, right? Is I've looked at the lower low and then the higher low, and that creates a bottom trend line. And then the high between those two lows is what I use to create my channel. And because it consistently, as you just said, I had this line which was based off this one point here, but based off the angle of this bottom trend.
Yep.
And it very cleanly hits the top trend. I mean, this is a 1 minute chart, so I find them pretty I use them as a guide, not a rule, so to speak.
Yep.
But it gives some pretty clean, consistent feedback and signal. But it's this broader trend, this descending trend that we've been in for the last 12 hours. Is that where we're at? 6 hours. That I'm looking for us to break out of. So
yep.
Really, I'd like to see us get above this trend line, this descending trend line here, and then retest it, and then look for a stronger pull up.
And were you kind of bullish because of the breakout towards the bottom side and then popping back up into it? Is that what made you, like, where you've got the two first, like the first shoulder and the head, those pops out beneath the trend line? Are you bullish on it because it's popped back up, it's gone like dipped out of it and now it's popped back into it? Is that what gave you the kind of the original?
Yeah. So when you were first talking about it with me, let me get rid of this for now. We were sitting around here somewhere.
Okay. Yeah.
And sitting right on the. I'm trying to figure out find the best view to. Maybe 1 minute is the right option. Yeah, I think it was about here when we were originally talking. So it had dipped out of that trend, that bottom trend, and it sort of found its way back inside it, and was sitting right on it.
Yeah.
And that's something with my particular strategy I'm always looking for, is that it's broken out the for me, the wrong side of the trend. I'd always expect a downwards trend to break up. And so if it breaks out the wrong side of it, generally it finds significant resistance to that direction. And you can see here it's sort of dumped out, and then it's tried to get back in. But more to the point, it keeps trying to break down from there, but it's never been able to find a substantial breakout. And so then it slowly grinds its way back in, and then generally can fairly smoothly finds its way to the opposite side of the trend. The thing I'd be watching here, though, is that we've now got a fairly clean upward trend happening. On 1 minute, but I'd be watching this cautiously to see what happens here. It would be nice to see us run up to, like, in terms of if we're calling this a head and shoulders, which it's sort of is, we should be looking at like 86.5, maybe up to 86.7.
Okay.
And so if you're wanting a clean exit from your trade, if it was me, I'd be looking at sort of 86.7 as a top of that head and shoulders movement.
Not bad.
If you wanted to be safer, then we might hit some resistance at sort of 86. Yeah, 86.6.
86.6. I thought you said 86.5 before was the.
Well, I'm using 86.550. There's like this little channel in here. Where's my rectangle here? So here.
Okay. But then with the more significant one up at that, yeah,
we've got a much more significant resistance at 86.7. what we might find is that this pops out, hits sort of 550, comes back down to retest the trend line, and then runs. So we might see something like this. Or I might be completely wrong, because this is definitely not financial advice.
Let's leave your little squiggle on the screen there, yeah, so you can see.
You want me to map it and then test.
I wanted to leave your prediction on. Yeah.
All right, I'll put my squiggle back on for you. Oops. So this, and up to like here. It's not a very smooth squiggle.
That's pretty good. Is that just a freehand? It's not bad.
Just a freehand squiggle with a mouse.
Not bad at all.
But really what I'm looking at for you, turn that down so it's not too distracting. You see, we pretty much perfectly hit this downward trend line.
Yep.
Which also still at this point lines up nicely with the top of this smaller trend line. Trend.
To me that seems like I should close it, but it seems like a double resistance.
Yeah, you could take some profit there. It depends how greedy you're feeling.
I'm not a greedy guy. I'm gonna swing trade it.
Okay. Cool. It's probably a really smart move. There you go. You can apply your risk averse trading to my TA, and then maybe we together will actually make some profit.
All right, I closed out at 86,328.
Oh, okay. Oh, you fully closed it?
I fully closed it, but I'm going to reopen it when it retests the bottom of that line, I think.
The bottom of what line?
The closer one. The bottom of your upwards trend line. Yep.
Okay. Okay, you're fully buying into my TA.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, that's good strategy, right? I explained the rule to you, you listened to the rule, and then I told you to break the rule, and you said no. First rule of successful trading is stick to your strategy, stick to your rules. I'm interested to see how this plays out, actually, because to me, I've got conflicting signal. Like if this is a head and shoulders, then I'd really be expecting us up to 86,700. But it's, I guess the volume's not really, no, it's not bad volume. I mean, it's all low volume stuff at this hour anyway, but. What's your approach to this? Like, you do a bit of trading. How do you make your decisions? Or is it just a gut?
So I've never been a good trader. I was a profitable trader for a while when we both worked for that Perps decks, just because they had prizes. So I was actually a pretty break-even trader outside of that, and then the prizes they had were enough to make me profitable. And I kind of feel like the same. So this I'm using one at the moment. They're like pre-TGE. So I'm hoping that they, that's worth something, and that I've just got to be a break-even trader.
So then explain to me, if you're not a profitable trader, how do you then translate that to our spot-on game? Because
I am profitable in that. Yeah, I am profitable in that.
So if you don't know how to read the charts, then how do you make it work for you?
in this one, I try and find dead areas, and so like you can see the price at the moment. There's I can see Crypto Coda is the closest on 86,320. Obviously I wouldn't be able to see his dot if I was yet to place a position, but from that I can gather, particularly earlier on in the day, that there's no one, if I was to go 86,3 28, that's something like that, like you just went, that I would be closer at that stage. It's just pumped up again, eh? Oof. It's on a breakaway.
Let's see. I think it's going to break out. I wouldn't have closed that trade. I agree with your reasoning of closing it. But
I'm very risk averse.
Yeah. Good. Okay, but so you're looking for the gaps in people's predictions.
Yeah, so that's on the 1 hour and 1 day. I kind of pick a range that I'm happy with. I wait for the really initial rush to go in. I've gone in way too late this time on the daily, but generally I try and wait for the initial rush. It's just because I'm asleep on the weekend at that time. But weekdays, wait for everyone to pop their positions down, and then I find the gaps. And in the 1 minute games, I just try and smash. I try and get pick what I think is a viable range over that time, and I try and bop them out as quickly as humanly possible. And so the time in game, the waiting thing is so important over the 1 minute. I mean, when you think about it, the 24-hour game, you've got half an hour pretty much is equivalent to 1 second. That's 48 compared to 60, but it's equivalent to 1.5 seconds. And so you have heaps of time to think in the 1 day game, but 1.5 seconds is you can't even get a position down that fast, and even smashing out your positions as quickly as possible. Normally there's a couple of seconds between your first place position and your last place position. So the time in the game is just huge there. You need to I think you basically need to decide what you're going to do in the game, in the next game, before the 1 minute game begins, and then execute that as quickly as possible. And I think it's got a shifting meta, so I try and respond to it a bit, the shifting meta. So if heaps of people are bunching all together around the spot price, around the price that it's entering in the round at, then I'll start shifting my positions out a bit. And if people are doing that, if people are pretty spread out, then I'll start concentrating mine around where I think the most likely is. So you kind of got to respond to how, it's got a very strong meta kind of play to it, because it's entirely PvP. You've really got to watch what other people are doing and respond to that as well, I think.
Yeah, cool. I was talking to Becky about that last week in one of these streams, that exactly to that point, it's different. Every game is different, or every session is different based on who turns up, right?
Yeah.
If Ace is there, then you play differently to if he's not there, or if Block Game is there. Some of these consistent guys make a big difference to how each session sort of feels.
Yep. Yeah. Fully.
1 second, man.
Are we coming back down to test the? Oh, sorry. I know you said 1 second.
I appreciate it. It was about 14 seconds. So, fully fair enough for you to jump in. Yeah. I mean, this is an interesting trade to watch play out. So it looks like, yeah, you probably made this. Well, let's put it this way: you definitely made the smart call. It'll be interesting to see if you made the right call from a profit perspective, but it yeah, if we pull back, if we go back under the 86,200 mark, I'll be I guess I get to a point where I'm then starting to look for a new pattern to play out. We haven't broken out of that longer term descending channel. And so I still expect that bottom trend line of the large descending channel to hold us up, or like to stick to the rules, right?
Freaking ages away.
Yeah, but I mean, that's down at like 85.6 now.
Right now it is, and by the time it hits it, it'll be like...
Yeah. And so that's... Your move was probably your move was definitely the smart and risk-averse move. And some of my most profitable trades come from not taking smart and risk-averse moves. I mean, everyone bags on TA traders, and especially like short-term TA, right? And then I trade almost entirely off. That's not. I was going to say I trade entirely off short-term technical analysis. That's not true. I do long-term technical analysis on like day charts and things, but then because I trade high leverage, I always take that big picture and look for the small moves within that big picture.
Yep.
But I'm also very happy to. There's lots of smarter traders out there than me. Definitely, there's lots I don't know. There's lots of mistakes that I make, and there's probably lots of TA that I trade on that lots of people would laugh at me for.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. I guess I'm pretty. I'm the opposite of risk averse. I'm very open to risk. And I guess I take a similar approach to the spot on mentality of I just need to win a few big trades to make it a profitable approach. And so if I take a bunch of losses because something isn't quite timed right, then I just need to make sure that when I do get it right, that they're big enough that, yeah, it has a substantial impact. And I'm still figuring that approach out.
What are all these? Which of these bands should I whack on as indicators?
I don't use any indicators.
You don't use any?
I genuinely, the only thing I trade on is ascending and descending channels, and I'll use RSI as a loose signal to find like a bottom or a top. I trade bullish or bearish divergence in the RSI to help reinforce like a when to enter.
You don't even use the Ichimoku cloud?
I feel like you're just picking the strangest name you can find in the list.
That's exactly what I was doing.
I know you too well for that. No, again, I touched on this last week with Becky, but I'm sure there is a lot of far better educated traders out there than me. I do not pretend to be a good trader. I am a simple trader, and I have spent many years putting extra stuff in and finding my results go down. And where I've found the most profitability is being very clear and simple with my rules. I've found a strategy that works for me. And so I build rules around when and where that strategy works and when and where it doesn't. And then just try to stick to those rules. And when I stick to those rules, it works. And when I don't stick to them, it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't.
Why did you say that if it went below 85,200 that you would be rethinking it when that doesn't 86,200? Why? Because that's not hitting the bottom of the upwards line yet.
I guess
86.2.
It's broken. So 86.2 was sort of like a reasonably significant resistance of this. So it's
at it right now.
Yeah, so it's retesting it right now. I guess it's sort of it broke above, but if it's not going to hold above there, it makes it feel a lot more like a bit of a fake out. And so failing to hold that, failing to flip the resistance into a support, to me is a bit of a bearish signal. Again, using that line as a guide and not a law, not a firm, like concrete marker. But yeah, I would be pretty. My confidence is in the bullish direction gets weaker as we sort of as we're retesting it. It broke. I mean, if we want to get really, really picky, there we go. Let's pull back up over it. What I tend to, one of my biggest downfalls, I guess, in terms of this sort of trading is that I get pulled way too into the micro. So I get looking at like the individual 1 minute candles, or even the movement within a 1 minute candle, and start doing what I'm doing here of like charting these like tighter and tighter channels.
So what does it show you when you zoom out? What are you seeing?
So if I'm looking at a broader picture here, if I go out to like so I guess on the 5 minute, we're getting a clearer image of. Let me get rid of these boxes. These micro channels. On the sort of longer time frame, from this sort of price action, I'd maybe be looking at it to come back down and do a retest of these lows that we put in an hour or so ago, which would then maybe potentially start forming like this sort of W pattern, or like a double bottom. Again, we're still within that descending channel. So if we're going to lose this, if we're not going to turn this into this sort of range into support, which it looks like we are potentially losing it, we're probably going to break out, break this bottom side of this channel, which would then generally see a bit of a pullback out of the bottom of that. And then we'd be looking at, okay, where's the next support? And then the ideal, if we're looking for a strong upward movement, ideally we're looking for yeah, probably a double bottom at the sort of 85.7, yeah, 85.7 line. If you wanted to, you could trade on the rule of the trend is your friend until broken, and so we're retesting this bottom trend line at the moment. So you could look at opening a trade here with the idea that maybe that's where we're going to pull up and break out of the broader trend line, broader channel. But then we start getting into the issue of, is that a big enough move for you to cover your fees? But you're only trading what, 20x, you said, leverage?
Yep.
So the fees probably aren't too horrendous for you.
Yeah. Okay. The fees are 0.0. They're not big fees.
Okay. But if we zoom out onto the sort of longer term, I must be a different chart of these on. So like from our previous high at 126k, that would give me this sort of descending channel here. So again, applying that rule, my basic rule of, okay, we've got a higher high here, a lower high here, which forms this trend line. I take that trend line and apply it to the lowest low between them, which is how I would form my channel. And you can see that it's sort of bounced off here, and then we've crashed down, and look at that. It wicked underneath it. But you can see that it's basically hit this trend line, and that's been the support for that.
Yep.
For that pullback. I would say the majority of the time I'm looking for some sort of like double bottom for a change in trend. So maybe in the longer term, I'm expecting a deeper pullback and to retest the sort of 80, what did we say, 80,500, 80,600, that previous low. But then within that trend, we've got this. That's a bit of a dirty, it's not a very clean trend, but something like that. So it's broken down out of that, it sort of retested it, and now we're pulling back down. So really we're looking for, where is this rejection of this channel? Where is this going to find its bottom to then turn around? Again, on a longer time frame, we've got a channel here that hasn't broken, and my charts get really messy really quickly.
Well, and I feel like it's one of those things. One of these lines has got to be right. You know, like you whack this many lines on the chart, and you can look back at it and go like, "Yep, called it." Like no matter where it goes.
Sure, and but I guess that's. I guess my perspective of that is I'm looking for opportunities. I'm not looking for like rules set in stone. I'm looking for an indication of an opportunity, and so that, and I guess that's maybe to me the misconception that a lot of people have, I think, around technical analysis traders. I don't know any trader out there that has 100% conviction in any signal
surely
or
not.
trend line things, right? And it's like, and so it's not this perception of I've drawn a line on a chart and therefore that is law. It's when I have this giant chart of information, what are the pieces that I can take away from that I can find consistent pattern in? And so, yeah, sure, I can look at this broad.
You see we're dropping out now?
Are we? Down?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. And so like you said, okay, I took this when I first sort of drew this line, this top line here was here, right? And we sort of broke up and it bounced pretty accurately off that.
Yep.
And even without me saying it, you took that as a great signal to close your trade. And I guess that's all technical analysis is to me, is how do I take the patterns that happen in the chart and find things that happen consistently enough that I can build a strategy around. And so when I can say, okay, when I get 2 points to form a trend line off, if I can take that trend line and apply it somewhere else, that basically gave us a top to the trade. Sure, I told you to ignore it, and you were right and I was wrong. But the strategy played out basically perfectly there. And I guess that's where I struggle, I guess, with spot on, like where this doesn't work for a game like spot on, which is all about timing. As my trading is not about the when something will happen. It's about having enough confidence that it will happen compared to the opposite happening. So, okay, I'm expecting when we're sort of entering into this sort of trade that we're expecting it to, we expect there's a high probability that it's going to move in the right direction for us. And then we can even pick what is the trigger for stepping away from that. Like, okay, the trade has played out, and now the probability of the direction is shifting to something else.
Yep. Well, I just opened a short. Looking at
you just chart. Opened a short.
Okay. Looking at your chart.
Okay. Cool. Interesting. Let's see how that goes.
Well, it looks like, doesn't it look to you like we're going down there to?
Yeah, I think there's a few things at play here. Let's move to a 5-minute. Give me a little bit more stable data. I think that's not it depends where your entry was at and what you're expecting is, like, where's your loose idea of maybe a take profit. Maybe we're going to come back down to this 85.8 mark. There's a bit of support there. Maybe I would probably expect this to pull back up and retest this trend line.
Okay.
Would be my, because we've broken out of it. It's never been retested. So I'd expect it to pull down, probably reverse, come up and look to retest it. Or maybe we crash completely out of it. But most of the time you'll see things be retested, right? Like even with here, it broke out quite strongly, but even in that strong momentum, it came back, it retested the 86.2 support and then tried to get again to run.
Yep.
So generally I'd be looking for an entry on a retest rather than a breakout.
Okay. That's good advice, because I feel like I'm always chasing the breakouts.
Yeah, I'm terrible at that as well. Like what I say is always quite different to what I do.
So should I close this position out, do you reckon? And
now you're asking me for financial advice there, Eddie.
It's true. Yeah, I know. All right.
given you the information. I've given you my thoughts and my perspective. What you do with it is your own decision. I am going to have to jump in just a few minutes. My daughter's about to walk through the door.
Yeah, cool.
So I might just leave you hanging in the middle of this trade.
Just leave. Can you just leave your screen up there? Sharing screen.
Okay. You want my chart. Yeah. Okay, let's apply my very terrible strategy and theories to what we're talking about here, right?
Yep.
So cool. It broke out this. It was in this sort of upward trend for a short time. We got sort of a double top. Dirty, not very clean, but the same idea of like, okay, it tried to break out, it couldn't, it's hit this other resistance off the top of this trend. And then we've had a pretty clean breakdown out of that trend. It got to the bottom, it sort of crashed out of it a bit. But in that process, it's actually formed another descending trend or descending channel, which if it bounces here and comes and retests this, as I was sort of predicting, then that would validate this channel. It'll be really interesting. Maybe we just crash down from here. 1 minute channels are something I catch myself trading and are always very painful because they're often ignored. So I generally tell myself to avoid getting caught into like 1 minute TA. But let's see. It's going to be in my theory is that we're going to come up here, retest here, and then let's see. Maybe then we come down.
Okay.
Just in case anyone is watching or listening, again, this is not financial advice. This is me and Yeti having a laugh on a Monday morning, chatting about what our thoughts and speculation is on how we attempt to read the charts, and I guess how we then translate that from charts into our play in spot on with Metafide. But yeah, please do not take this as financial advice. I'm always happy to chat about if you're in the community, you can always jump in. We have a community discussion channel in there for people to chat about like market speculation and things like that. Always happy to chat with you in there. But look at this play out.
Oh yeah, it's following it.
I am definitely not a professional trader. I definitely like to pretend I'm a break-even trader with sometimes making profit, and then I ignore the times that I lose money. But I also think people overcomplicate. I guess I said this before, but I think a lot of people overcomplicate, or when they think about technical analysis, they think it's a much more complex and like magical, mystical thing than it is, because everyone loves to talk about the really complicated like layers of indicators and patterns and all sorts of things that they use.
The Ichimoku clouds.
Yeah, exactly. And really, I guess that was how I was introduced to TA in a really basic and simple form by a guy who wasn't a great trader. So I guess that's really what it comes down to. He didn't know a lot of fancy TA stuff, but he had found he was trading just support and resistance lines basically.
Yep.
And so my introduction to technical analysis came from hey, here's a really simple, basic concept that I use to make money. And so I then, got interested in it and was looking at it through a, hey, I can use a really simple strategy to make money. And yeah, if I added extra complications to that, what I found was I was then getting really confused signal. So I was trying to apply too many indicators to the same concepts. And so suddenly I found myself with all sorts of like bullish and bearish signals, rather than a clean, readable signal to build a strategy around.
Yeah.
So I think for everyone, like, a technical analysis is not some like concrete mastery of the charts where you can look at indicators or draw lines on a chart and know exactly what's going to happen. They're a guide to what might happen, and it gives you a way to interpret the data within the charts, I guess. And then my only piece of advice for people out there is like finding something that makes sense to them and pick an indicator, pick some simple strategy that makes sense to them, that they can cleanly understand, and then look at how to consistently apply that, rather than going oh, this isn't working, so I'm going to put more and more information into it. If you're going to change what indicators you're using or what patterns you're looking for, then my suggestion would be to do a clean, fresh approach to it. Don't layer them on top of each other. Look to use as little as possible to get an effective signal, rather than as much as possible to get an effective signal.
Yep. And surely, like, if I had any advice, paper trade for a bit. Like, don't
I've heard
and
that
actually
that's
see
a good
what
approach.
see what your actual P&L would be with fees. Like, make sure you paper trade with the fees of whatever thing you'll be doing it on. Because I just realized that what I said was an insubstantial fee when I actually added up. Taking 0.5% out of every thing I put down.
Yeah.
Even at 20x, it's taking half. It's taking 0.5%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the fees definitely. The fees definitely need to come into. You need to take them into account for how you're trading, because you need to have a significant enough upside to whatever trade you're making to not only obviously cover the fees that you have to pay for opening and closing the trade, but also have profit on top of that. And so for me, like I'm generally trading like 100, 150x leverage, and by the time I've opened and closed a trade, there's a 10% fee that I'm paying on top of that. So if I'm not getting a greater than 10% return, or like if I'm not getting greater than 20% return on that trade, if I'm not expecting to get a greater than 20% return on the trade, then it's not worth me looking at. And realistically, at that high leverage, I'm looking for much higher percent returns to offset the risk that I get from it. But yeah, no, paper trading is a great call. I guess the only note I'd add on to that is, when you move from paper trading to trading real assets, it's a completely different experience. Suddenly, when you're trading with real money, your emotions hit much harder than when you're trading with fake money. Because when it's fake money that you don't really care about, the the pain of losing is not the same, but also the greed or the FOMO, like fear of missing out. Just, I think a lot of people get caught when they start paper trading, and then they move from paper trading to trading real assets.
Okay.
That they're really caught off guard by how much more emotional the trading is, compared to when they're trading with fake money. It's the same like when Spot On was in alpha testing, right? Before we went live and we were on testnet, and we were all playing with fake USDC from the faucet.
Yeah.
And we all had $1 million USDC in our balance. And it was a fun game to play, and test out, and it was great. The community loved it. But then when we shifted from testnet to mainnet, and suddenly it's like, oh, well, I've gone from having $1 million testnet USDC in my account to I've got $10 of my own real money in there.
Yep.
And it's like, well, suddenly we're all playing like 10 and 20 cent positions and stressing
yep.
so much more. But it made the game so much more fun, right? And so much more intense.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's
so funny with games like this. I find it with trading too. Like, like I will like.
Sorry to cut you short there, Yeti. I do actually have to jump.
Oh, yeah. All good, man.
Doorbell's gone. I'll leave my chart up for you.
Cheers. I'll probably head off now too, but I'll keep looking at your chart occasionally. Cheers, guys. Anyone that's here listening, thank you. Sorry, it's not very Metafide related, but at this time of day, there's the hourly games going, which are great, but obviously can only put down 5 positions in the hour, and the daily game. Daily game, I'm currently, even though it's in my positions here, I'm not doing great, and that's because roaming here has come in and sniped around here. So if it hits one of his positions exactly there, he'll need to be really accurate for it to work. But if he is, he'll take it from me. But I've kind of done the same thing to this guy back here, whoever that is. Let's say, looking at the board, it's OT or Miracle, or both. Maybe OT and Miracle. But yeah, if you sign up now, you get a deposit match offer, $5 added into your account. When you deposit $5 or more, you get $5 in bonus dollars. That bonus has a 10x playthrough, so you got to play $50 in volume in order to withdraw that $5. So you can't just deposit $5 and take out the 10. And there's a very lucrative referral program with it as well. So everybody you refer, every time they play, you get a portion of their volume as rewards. And every time someone they invite plays, you get a portion of it. And every time someone they invite someone, you get a portion of it. So it's 3 generations deep of referral rewards. So if you can invite some players that play heaps, fantastic. You're earning off their volume. But also, if you can invite some players or a player that is going to invite a whole bunch of players themselves, then you are sharing in that too. So if you can think of someone that, a KOL or just, someone that is going to be able to invite a bunch of people and that they'll be able to push through volume, the people they invite, then you're sharing in that upside. And so, 3 generations deep of that. So invite who you can. Every time they play, you get paid. All right, I'm going to sign off. I'll see you guys in 2 hours. The Supercharged session starts. And so we'll start streaming before that. see you all then. Oh, look at this. Finally finished there. Look at that. Ooh. Must have been right on my position for a second there. All right. Cheers, guys.